So now it's time to start with the CSS part of the project by using the style.css file. So inside of the style.css file, we need to provide a style code for this generate random paragraph application. Right now we want to actually reset the default styling of the browser. So for that we need to use the universal selector. So first here I am going to add the padding, which you already know. I have actually done this thing in many of the previous projects. So padding is 0, margin is 0. Then we need to use the box sizing. So box sizing is going to be border box. And then we need to use the font family. So font family here at this point of time I am going to use the Beltana. Then you can see the font is actually changed inside the browser. And then we need to add the body so that we can add that linear gradient color. So body, inside of that we need to use the background property. Background property, which is the background, not color one, we need a background one, and then we need to use the linear gradient. So we want to apply the linear gradient to left, and then we need to provide the color code. So it is going to be like F74813, which is a reddish color, and then we need to add the another color because the linear gradient is the intersection of the two colors 54 C and 0. So this will be the color. Now you can see the color is actually applied to the background of the body and it is visible to the web browser. So the next we need to actually apply the style for the label, because right now this generate password. So we are going to add the code for the label first. So we are going to directly select the label here, and here I am going to add the text decoration. So text decoration to underline, and after that I am going to add here a font weight. So font weight is going to like 600. Then you can see the size of the weight of the generate random paragraph is increased. After that we need to apply the style code for the card element, because that is the main container. If I come back to the index.html, so you can see this is a main container in which everything is actually placed. If I collapse it, and you can see this is the main container of the division. So control save it, and coming back to the CSS part, so card, and starting its curly pair of the brackets, and after that first we need to add the max width property. So max width is going to be 900 pixel. If I save it, then you can see nothing is actually changed, because we need to first here specify the background color, then it will be visible to the screen. So the background color I am going to use the Alice blue, so or I can use the white one because Alice blue is not looking good. Hashtag and then 3 times F key. So this is the background color we want to use. And then we need to use the margin property. So margin is going to be like, from top is going to be like 10 pixel margin, and from left and right it is going to be auto. And here if I save it, then you can see there is a 10 pixel margin from the top. Then we need to add the box shadow property. So box shadow is actually 0. Then here we need to use the 2 pixel. Then the blurriness is going to be 4 pixel, and then we need to use the function which is RGBA, then 0, 0, 0, and here we need to use the 0.2. I control save it. Then we need to increase the padding as well. So padding from all sides is going to be 20 pixel. If I maximize the window size of the browser, then you can see we are actually able to see this particular container at the center of the screen, which is our card. The next thing is we want the rounded corners. So for that we need to use the border radius property. So border radius, not a border bottom, we want a border radius property. Border radius is going to be 10 pixel, so that we get the nice rounded borders. Okay, nice rounded corners. So that's not the completion of the code for the card. So next we need to add the code for the row element, because this is the row. So we have 2 rows, this particular row and then this one. So we're going to add the code for this row selector, so this row, and instead of that we need to add the margin top property. So margin top is going to be like 15 pixel. Once I did it, then you can see there is a difference between the margin. If I enter some element inside the paragraph like this random stuff, if I enter it, now I have added in the wrong part. If I enter some random stuff here, if I control save it, then you can see there is a margin 15 pixel. If I remove the margin 15 pixel from the row, which is a margin top property, then you can see they are very like appearing very close to each other. So that is the reason we need to add here margin top property. Alright, and I am going to coming back to the index.html, just removing this text because we don't want it. Control save it and coming back to the style.css file. And after this row, we need to add the code for the row division. So again here row, and then we need to add the division tags, and then we need to apply the code. So here inside of that we need to add the padding. So padding is going to be 10 pixel. If I did it, then you can see now they are actually looks much more cooler. Okay, means looks much more good, and the style is perfectly setted. After that we need to add the code for the row input. Then here we need to select the row and then input, and then we need to start the code of this particular row input. So here inside of that I'm going to add the width. So width is going to be like 100 pixel. Now this width is for the input type. So this is now we have actually reduced the size because we just only want to display a one number. So that is the reason I have actually added the width to 100 pixel. Even you can decrease the width to 50 pixel. That will also work, but for the simplicity purpose I'm just going to use the 100 pixel. And after that we need to use here another property, which is the padding property, which is going to be 5 pixel. And then we need to add the border radius. So border radius is 5 pixel again. And then we need to add the border. So there should be a border to this particular input type. So it is of 1 pixel solid border. Of color I will be using here FF, which is 000 and 0. So red color border we are going to use it for this particular input type. And then we need to add the outline property. So outline we are going to use it none. Okay, so whenever we actually as in the focus, then the outline will not be visible. Then we need to add the last property, which is the font size. So font size is going to be 16 pixel, not PS, is going to be 16 pixel. So you can see now the size of the font is actually increased. Next we need to style this particular button. So again I'm going to copy this row because the button is also placed inside the row division. So here we need to select the row and then we need to select the button. So under the row, and then we have this particular button. Okay, so coming back to the style.css, closing its curly bracket. Instead of that, first we need to add the background color. So we need to add the background color, which is our E4 and then 6141. So this will be the color we are going to use for the button. Then we need to stylize the button. So first we need to add the padding. So padding is going to be 5 pixel from top and bottom. Then from left and right it is going to be 10 pixel. And then we need to use the border radius property. So border radius is going to be 5 pixel from all sides, so that we get the rounded corners. And then we need to use the border to none. And if I save it, then you can see the button is actually taking its shape, means its style. And after that we need to increase the font size. So font size is going to be 16 pixel. And then I have actually using here a color property. So color is going to be white. And then we need to use here another, which is a property, which is cursor pointer, which is always required. And then we need to use the outline property. Outline is going to be none. So I did that. Then you can see if I hover over the button, then the cursor is actually changed it to pointer 1. Okay, so this is for the code for the button. So the last CSS that we want to apply for the paragraph element, so that paragraph element will be looks like more great, because inside of that row we are going to display the paragraph element. We are going to add the paragraph element inside of these dynamically with the use of JavaScript code. So that is the reason we are going to add the CSS first, because it's just only 3 lines of the CSS. So that is why I'm actually adding it here, so that once we start the code inside the JavaScript, we do not come back to the CSS part to add the code. So first we need to add the margin code, which is margin top is going to be 10 pixel. And after that we need to add the font size property. So font size is going to be 16 pixel. And then we need to add the text align property. Text alignment is going to be justify. Alright, so if we enter a paragraph element here, like as I want to show you paragraph element. Actually I am inside the script tag. This is the paragraph element. Here we need to add the paragraph element. I have actually used inside the script tag, so I'm going to just make it this one. And here we need to add the text, so I'm going to copy a line of paragraph from the internet. So I copy it, and if I just come back to here and if I save it, then you can see this is how our style of the paragraph will look like. Alright, so that's now the completion of the code. Then I'm going to remove this paragraph line because we are going to generate it dynamically means we are going to generate it with the use of the JavaScript code. Okay, so that is actually the CSS part of the project. It looks similar like the output one that we want to develop for the module. So you can see it's almost similar. So that's it for the CSS part of the generate random paragraph application. Our next step is to start with the JavaScript part of the application.